Once again, the weight limit for the fight was 190. You can see that Jirov is 5 years younger than Toney. He has a 5-inch measured height advantage, but Jirov bends over when he comes forward and gives away a lot of that height advantage. They weighed in at 188, 190. Tonight, 194 and 196. The relatively small kick up in both instances indicates that both guys were in terrific shape when they arrived at the scale yesterday. Reach equal at 74. Arm length measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, a half-inch advantage for Toney. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Vassiliy Jirov James Toney fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
Well, there was a moment in time after James Toney knocked out Tim Littles and then beat up Prince Charles Williams in 1994 when some experts regarded him as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. But that was exactly the moment at which he allowed his weight to balloon to 214, had to lose more than 40 pounds in a period of less than 4 weeks to get ready for the fight against Jones, and came in a listless performance that was partially his fault, partially, of course, Jones's dominance. Here's a closer look at James Toney. Old school, trained, as Emmanuel told you earlier, voiceover by the veteran trainer Bill Miller of Detroit. James Toney knows as many of the old fight tricks as any fighter in the game. No more young and dumb, he says, acknowledging that his lifestyle took him out of the boxing elite back in the day when he was fighting Jones and others of his ilk. Unbeaten with 4 losses, James Toney, despite the 4 losses on his record, insists to us that nobody's ever really beaten him face-to-face. He's beaten himself with his bad habits, but he's never really, in his view, lost a fight. That's the kind of arrogance that makes Toney the fighter that he is. And meanwhile, here's Vassiliy Jirov. He's known mostly as a body puncher, Manny, but expand on this point. You say you trained him, and he's a hard puncher with both hands, not just the left.
He punches hard with both hands, and he's a very busy fighter. And cumulative, he can wear you down and hurt you. Where Toney will wear you down, maybe, but it's not so much a puncher as compared to this guy here. But the one thing is, I just don't know if he gets whacked pretty good by Toney, if he can take the punches. If they end up having a slugfest, whether he can take the punch, even though he's a good puncher himself.
And a closer look at the Russian Tiger, Vassiliy Jirov, banking on the breadbasket. He plans to go right at James Toney's belly and determine whether Toney's lifestyle deficiencies have left him with a deficit in being able to stay in tough competition. 14-month layoff for Jirov, who's been plagued by problems with a former manager, financial and legal problems. His trainers worry somewhat about rust, but they say this kind of fighter will get his rhythm back in a hurry. Kazakh from paradise. He had a very difficult upbringing in Kazakhstan, where the national team coach put him through extraordinarily difficult training regimens. Then 2 weeks after the Olympics in '96, moved to the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix and has lived more or less in American paradise ever since.
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Let's go up to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Cruiserweight Championship of the World. Brought to you by DeBella Entertainment in association with Foxwoods Resort and Casino of Mashantucket, Connecticut, the King of Beers, Budweiser, and Perfect 10 Magazine, along with Goose and Tudor Promotions. This contest is sanctioned by the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation Athletic Commission, Chairman Joey Carter, Vice Chairman Richard Butler. The scoring will be done on a 10-point system, and the 3 judges at ringside will be Glenn Feldman, Melvina Lathan, and Steve Weisfeld. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, working for the 105th time in a world title bout, Steve Smoger. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Foxwoods, DeBella Entertainment, and HBO Sports, we dedicate and salute the men and women who serve and sacrifice with valor and honor. Our heroes, the members of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. And now, Let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black and his official weight stands at 190 pounds. He has an outstanding professional career, 65 victories, including 42 knockouts with 4 defeats and 1 bout even. From the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, here is the challenger, the former 7-time world champion, James "Lights Out" Toney. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner. Wearing tiger stripes, he officially weighs 188 pounds. Since capturing Olympic gold in 1996, he has a perfect professional record consisting of 31 bouts, 31 victories, including 27 knockouts. From Bulgash, Kazakhstan, here is the reigning, defending, undefeated IBF Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Vassiliy the Tiger Jirov.
That's you, baby. Thanks, Mike. All right, gentlemen, you were given your instructions to weigh in. Please obey my commands, respect the belt, and above all, protect yourself at all times. Trunks are good. Touch them up. Touch the gloves, gents. James, touch the man's glove. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
James is coming in with an attitude already.
Well, that's the man. It's a cruiserweight fight, but the winner will, in all likelihood, try to call out a heavyweight after the fight. Not just any heavyweight, the one named Jones. One key tactical element. Vassiliy Jirov, as we mentioned, will bend over to try to go to James Toney's belly. Can Toney catch him with an uppercut and change his life?
Yes, he can. And also, I saw Jirov get hurt by a left hook.
Some observers say, and Emmanuel, I think I heard you say this earlier this evening, that you've never really seen James Toney hurt in the ring.
Never saw him hurt, and for the most part, never saw him really beaten decisively. You know, just Roy beat him because Roy was just Roy with his speed. But, you know, James is fighting a smart fight right now. He's seemingly trying to shoot the straight right hand through the center and gives very, very little of a target.
And Jirov hasn't gotten to that breadbasket yet. He throws one left into the belly.
Jirov is having a lot of problems already trying to find a way to properly hit Toney. And it looks better for James at this stage right now than Jirov at the first.
When we talk about old school, look at Toney's use of his hands, his head, the way he rolls away from punches, the way he wraps the right hand. He does things that you might have seen in the 30s and 40s and not as much today.
No, he uses every part of his body to protect himself.
Maybe Bernard Hopkins is the one other fighter who shows you the same kinds of tricks that Toney will foster during the fight.
But more so, I think, yeah, probably next, but I think James is probably leading it. The only thing, James has had a lot more wear and tear on him than Bernard.
Best punch of the round, backed Jirov off half a step. Jirov took it though, keeps coming. There's a left to the body by Jirov, the first one to really dig in. Toney shaking his head as if to say, you're not going to hurt me with that.
Jirov still can't find a comfortable angle to land punches in.
Little right hand by Toney, back Jirov out. Jirov lands the left himself. Jirov jabbing, but kind of half-heartedly. Toney pops him with one in return.
Nice round, Nathan. Yeah.
And you see the defensive skills of Toney there.
Yeah, but Jirov is putting a lot of pressure on him. He's making him work a lot faster and more than he normally would work.
Mental pressure from round to round, like few opponents have been able to do to James Toney.
Yes, yes.
Hard punches by Jirov there. Hard right hand by Toney. Backs Jirov up.
Good.
Both guys had their moments.
Very good rounding. And I think it's going to get better as the fight goes on.
Hey, look, take that down. Look, you got to keep hitting something. You know what I'm saying? All right? All right? Vassiliy, see? Look, keep hitting something. Follow what I'm saying? And look, remember, when he plants that foot, step around and get a clean shot. You got me?
Yep, sir.
All right. How you feel?
Okay. Why don't you use that jab a little bit more and use those pants a little bit more, okay? All right? You've got to come back with more than one shot from me, okay? All right? You came back with the one counter real nice, okay? You can come back with two, okay? Yeah, behind the right hand, you want to go? Okay. Behind the right hand, put the left hook, right? Okay. Give him a drink. That's all right.
Here's the one right hand counter by James Toney.
Toney is landing the more effective and precise punches, but with the pace that Jirov is setting, if Toney doesn't knock him out, it's going to be pretty rough on him going down the stretch.
And Jirov was the one who was landing combinations, and now Toney fighting hard off the ropes, and Jirov bangs him back into them.
Yeah, Jirov is being very physical with James.
Tommy Brooks and Thel Torrance training Jirov want him to go in and be the boss from the start. They don't want Toney to gather any confidence in the fight.
No, one of the things when you fight any fighter, if you can make him fight at a little bit faster pace than he normally fights, that you have a great advantage.
Well thrown straight right hand by Toney. Jirov with a good left to the belly.
Body shot him.
Toney didn't like it.
No.
Now Jirov lands upstairs and blocks Toney's left. Small trickle of blood out of the right nostril of Vassiliy Jirov. No doubt the product of one of Toney's accurate counter shots.
Toney's very accurate with his shots.
Toney steps into a southpaw stance as Jirov rakes him with the left. Comes back with the right to the top of the head. Another right on the temple. Jab. Toney not throwing much. Jirov to the body. Jirov throwing more upstairs than Toney might have expected and landing.
And even though he's not landing all of them, he's landing enough of them. And Toney is, I don't think, prepared for this pace.
Vassiliy Jirov, despite a 14-month layoff, comes in and fights the first 2 rounds at a blistering pace. And Toney is able to fight back only intermittently, though effectively when he does.
And he's going to have to throw a left hook behind that right hand, too, because he's trying to land it all with the right hand. And the pace is just a lot faster than he wants, and you can see him landing the ropes down to support himself.
And Vassiliy got the left to the belly again, and Jirov throws at close range as Toney backed him off for a moment with the right to the chest. But again, the fast pace, Jirov's hands releasing at a rate that Toney just can't match. If Vassiliy Jirov can handle James Toney's big shots, he's going to wear him out at this rate.
Yeah, and Toney's not a particular really big dangerous puncher, but he's a good puncher. But at the pace that Jirov is setting right now, it looks pretty rough for James.
There's a low blow from Jirov. Steve Smoger tells him to keep it up. Jirov lands low again. Smoger didn't see that one. Toney comes back with a body shot and a right. A lot of action here.
I'm surprised that James hasn't thrown his left hook more.
In the first 2 rounds of the fight, Vassiliy Jirov is averaging 90 punches a round, and he's making James Toney work at a rate that isn't comfortable for him. Next Saturday night, May 3, Oscar De La Hoya makes his return to the ring, but he puts his 154-pound title on the line.